Hello, my name is Santiago Martinez, and now we're going over problem 4 of exam 1. 4a, it asks us what is the difference between an even and odd function. And the simple answer to this is even functions. Let me write this out for you. Even functions. I don't like that color, pardon me. Even functions are symmetric over the y-axis, when odd functions have symmetry across the origin. So keep that in mind. That's how they differ, right? Even functions will always be symmetric over the y, and odd functions will be over the origin. To figure out this algebraically, this question asks, determine whether the following function is even, odd, or neither. So first, let's analyze the function that is given, right? So looking at this, we're immediately going to have to break some things down here to get things working. So to solve these types of problems, we will plug in negative x. The way that we do this is to see if it matches up with something or not. So if the whole problem after plugging in negative x simplifies and it matches the OG equation, then it is an even function. If all values swapped to the OG sign, so if you have a positive value and that swapped to a negative value, or if you have a negative value swapped to a positive value, then it is odd. If it's all over, then it would be neither. So let's analyze this, right? So we plug in negative x to our function, so we separate our terms. So we would distribute this 2. I'll pull out a highlighter as well so you can see what I'm talking about. So we distribute this 2, and it's important to note that when we're doing this, we might distribute our power first or then after. So we get negative 2 cubed. So that's swapped, right? So now we're going to look at our next. That's definitely not going to mention or match our first original function. But then we look at our negative 5 distributed into this negative x. At negative times a negative will be a positive, or if we distribute this 2, right, anything squared is going to be a positive. So that's how we know we distribute this first. So a negative times a negative will always be a positive, and then that squared would also result in a positive, right? So now looking at this, I have my eraser on, we should get positive 5x squared minus 1. So this was looking pretty good at the terms because this swapped and this swapped, but this stayed the same. So this means that all values swap, so it won't be neither, and it does definitely not match the original function, so it would not be odd. So this doesn't match, and this means it would be neither. So again, when we get with these kind of situations, we always plug in negative x. In result, if we get a situation where after plugging in negative x, if it simplifies to it looking like the original problem, then we know that it is even. If we plug in negative x and all values flop, or to either positive to negative or negative to positive, then we know that it's odd. If none of these happens, or it's all over the place, mixed outputs, we will get neither. So in this situation, 2 of which are values swapped, so it's looking like an odd function, but this one did not, meaning it's neither. And that's basically going over the difference between odd and even functions. Thank you.